Hello everyone. Our minds are working right now. Before we walked in here, before we opened this, before we had a single reason to be stressed today, the thinking had already started. The mind keeps us running like a man on the conveyor belt, chasing needs, fears, and imagined problems. But the past and future are only reflections. The only real moment is this one, the now. Chapter 3 of The Power of Now begins with an unusual promise. Eckhart Tolle does not say, study more, understand more, work harder at inner growth. The whole chapter is about what he means by that and why it changes everything. We are going to move through 13 connected ideas. Each one is a door, and all of them lead to the same room, the present moment. So everything we explore today points towards a single destination, right now, right here. Here's the basic dysfunction that Tolle is describing. And once we see it, we cannot unsee it. Most of us have spent our entire lives completely merged with our thoughts. We do not watch our thoughts, we become them. Mind says, I am not good enough, and we believe it. Mind says the person disrespected us, and we become the anger. The mind says something bad is going to happen, and the body floods with fear. We are not choosing any of this, it's simply happening automatically, continuously, because we have never learned to step back from it. We have all been in a conversation where someone says something that lands wrong, a small thing, a careless comment, and for next 3 hours, even while doing other things, even while laughing with other people, part of the mind is still in that moment, still processing, still replaying. That is not us choosing to suffer. That is identification with the mind. The mind running on autopilot and us being dragged along with it. But here's what Tolle points to. There is something in us that is already watching all of this. The witness. The awareness behind the thought. That part that notices the mind is in a loop without being the loop. That witness is what we are. And the moment we touch it, even briefly, something changes. We are not the thought. We are the one who notices the thought. That noticing is the beginning of freedom. When we stay merged with the mind, when we keep mistaking our thoughts for who we are, something else gets created. Tolle calls it the ego, the false self. Think of it this way. Being, our true nature, is like wine. The source, the life. The ego is a branch that got cut off from that vine. And now it's trying to sustain itself by collecting things, opinions, stories, identities, grievances, achievements. And here's the thing, about the ego that makes it so persistent? It feels vulnerable. It feels threatened constantly. So it lives in a state of fear and wanting. It needs to be right. It needs to be seen. It needs to be better than, or at least not worse than. And it endlessly attaching itself to new problems, because without problems, the ego loses its reason to exist. We have all met someone and maybe recognized this in ourselves, whose entire sense of identity built around their struggles, their health problems, their difficult past, their grievances with the world. And if we gently suggest that things could be different, they resist. Not because the suffering is pleasant, but because the suffering has become who they are. Tolle says the ego loves nothing more than a problem to attach itself to. So the way out is not to fight the ego, not to analyze it, not to make it into yet another problem. It is simply to see it, to recognize it operating, and in recognition, to step back into the awareness that was always already there. The ego is not who we are, it is what we become when we lose contact with being, and we can return at any moment. So there's a question that comes up here almost every time. If the mind is a problem, shouldn't we study it more? Shouldn't we understand it better? Isn't that what therapy is for? What psychology is for? And Tolle gives a very specific answer. Studying the complexities of the mind may make us better thinkers about the mind, but it will not take us beyond the mind. He says, it is like studying madness is not enough to create sanity. We cannot think our way out of a thinking problem. We all know someone, maybe we are that someone who has analyzed their anxiety for years, read every book, understood every pattern, traced every route, and yet the anxiety is still there, still present, still running. Because understanding where the anxiety comes from is not the same as stepping out of identification with it. One is staying in the mind, the other is moving beyond it. So, instruction is simple. Step out. Once we recognize the basic dysfunction that we are identified with the mind, there is no need to explore every single manifestation of it. We do not need to make it a complex problem, personal problem. We just stop. We notice. We step back into the awareness that was always watching. We become present. And when we are present, we can allow the mind to be exactly as it is, without getting entangled in it. The mind is a wonderful tool. It only becomes a prison when we mistake it for who we are. So here's the key, the passage in the book where Tolle offers what he calls the single most important instruction in this chapter. End the delusion of time. Time and mind are inseparable. They run on the same fuel. Remove time from the mind, remove the mind's ability to live, in the past and future, and the mind stops. Or rather, it comes back to where it belongs, right here. Think about this. Every worry requires a future to live in. Every regret requires a past to return to. Every comparison requires a different time and place. So strip away all that. Bring everything back to this single actual moment. And the worrying machinery has nothing to run on. Here's a very common experience. It is Saturday morning, we are having a perfectly calm breakfast, and suddenly, for no immediate reason, an anxiety thought arrives. Something about next week, something unresolved from last month, something we fear about future. The moment never changed. The room never changed, but the mind left. It traveled to another time. And the body responded as if that other time were real. That is the mind running on time. That is exactly what Tolle is describing. Notice when the mind leaves the moment. Notice it is going to yesterday or tomorrow, and then just this return to the body. The weight of the chair, the sounds in the room, the breath. Those are not techniques, they are the anchors to what is actually real right now. The mind stops creating suffering the moment it is no longer living in a time that does not exist. So we have just moved through 6 slides, and that are all pointing to the same thing. We saw that merging with the mind, believing every thought is the root of so many daily sufferings. The 2 a.m. replay, the spiral of self-criticism, the automatic reaction we cannot seem to stop. We saw the ego, the construction itself, and how it survives by clinging to problems, opinions, and pain. And we touched the awareness behind it all, the witness, the part of us that can notice without being caught. Before we move forward, take one moment right now. Notice whatever the mind is doing at this exact second. Not to change it, not to judge it, just to see it. That noticing, that tiny gap between thought and awareness, that is a space this entire teaching lives on. So the middle of any emotional reaction, try asking, am I feeling? Am I this feeling, or am I aware of this feeling? Do not force an answer. The question itself is the practice. In the next video, we will discover why ending our relationship with psychological time is the single most powerful thing we can do. We are not trying to fix the mind. We are learning to stop being lost in it. So thank you very much, friends, for listening. Please like the video if you've got any benefit from it. And please also forward it to your friends and family. They can connect with us. And please subscribe so you don't miss the next video series, continuation of Power of Now. Thanks for listening.